Hey there, I'm Nicholas Dubois, co-founder of Advanced SimRacing. We are a Canadian company. So what we did here today is for a real petrol head. He's really passionate about cars, as you can see behind me. We did a turnkey solution for him based on his needs. We try to gather as much information as we can on our client, and like we did today, we install a D-box system, we install ultra-wide cube control steering wheel. We try to provide the best quality for your budget. So let's say if you want a budget of 10 grand, we're gonna give you something that's the best for 10 grand. If you want 20 grand, then we always try to stay within your boundaries. We do try to make it as easy as possible. So the client, once we install everything, it's pretty much gonna be a turnkey. So he's gonna press start on his computer, and right after, we'll try to explain everything, how it goes, how it works, and then he's ready to go. Our aluminum is from USA, treated in Canada, cut in Canada. So we do sand all our aluminum piece just to make sure the powder coat sticks to it. And that's one of the reasons why we use powder coat, is to make sure you have the best aluminum finish in the industry. And our quality is beyond what you can get with any other competitors right now. We are really, really passionate about all the gear, all the cockpits, all the sim hardware, and that's why we want to create something that's really gonna reflect our passion into our product. Come visit us at advancedsimracing.com. You can always reach us if you have any questions. You can call us, you can text us, you can go on Facebook, like our page, ask us questions over there, and we'll make sure to answer every questions there is. We are very passionate about what we do, and we try to make it as easier for you to go into the sim racing world, because there's a lot of gear, there's a lot of options, but let us guide you through your process, and let's hope you'll be an Advanced Sim Racing customer.
Hey guys, welcome to ASR. I'm Nick, this is Marc-Andre.
Hey everybody, so we're just here to announce that in this current season of PRL, we'll be giving away 2 ASR 3s to 2 lucky winners. So stay competitive, keep racing fair, and may the best man win.
It has been a season of domination for both series here on Tuesdays, with Jonathan Wager stamping his authority on the Ferrari Fixed League, and Vincent Trepanier and Nathan Nicholson the only 2 drivers to pick up wins in GT3 AM. As a result, both series are all but decided already, but don't worry, because the Hungaroring and Bathurst are sure to provide plenty of action and excitement for the series finales tonight. Hello everyone, and welcome to round 10 of the PRL GT Amateur Series here on the Global Sim Racing channel. I'm DJ Clark, and with me in the booth is Michael Johnson. Behind the scenes is our director Joe Peak, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Hungaroring is a little bit more used to seeing some open-wheel cars around its twisty confines, but tonight, the GT3s head to the track. Let's head over our track guide to make sure we know what to expect.
Welcome to the Hungaroring. Situated just northeast of Budapest, this Grand Prix circuit has racked up a stunning history in just a little more than 30 years of existence. Its biggest claim to fame was holding the first Formula One race inside the Iron Curtain at a time when the Cold War was at its peak. But most fans don't associate this 2.7-mile or 4.38-kilometer track with politics. No, its 14 turns make it tight and twisty with a reputation for few places to overtake. For a long time, it was renowned for processional races in which qualifying is of the utmost importance. But the past couple decades have seen a litany of utterly wild and unpredictable races that greatly overshadow the single-file events of before. The majority of passing takes place into Turn 1, while some battles do carry on into Turn 2. But be careful about how greedy you get, because the steep drop in elevation makes it easy to go wide. Other than that, Turn 12 is often the only other realistic place to sneak by your opponent. Perhaps the scariest and trickiest of the corners is 4, which presents a blind and crooked entry into a high-speed flick. Though modern times have seen a paved runoff added to it to make it safer, that's considered out of bounds, and drivers will find themselves being told to give back time if they abuse the exit. Built with fans in mind, the track sits in a natural bowl, allowing great views from most sides of the venue. It's easy to see why it's become a fan favorite on the F1 calendar, and there's little doubt it'll continue to see lots of racing for years to come.
Well, Michael, that is an overview of the Hungaroring, but with these Ferraris out on track, what can we expect when we get started under green?
Well, we can expect a lap around 2.7, little over miles, around 4.3, 4.4 kilometers, 14 turns. Interestingly, only 2 of them have names. And then the race is going to run about 35 minutes. Should be quite interesting as we watch the track evolve over the time of the race. Moving on, if we look at what's going to happen in the GT3 AM race a little later on, we're going to have a 4-mile track at the Mount Panorama course.
Indeed, and we're looking forward to watching both of those. But before we can get into the action, we want to thank our sponsors for tonight. First off, our broadcast is brought to you by ASR. Owned and operated by passionate sim racers, Advanced Sim Racing designs and builds the sturdiest and most durable aluminum profile racing simulation cockpits available in the market today. Visit them at advancedsimracing.com.
Tonight's broadcast is also sponsored by RaceLab. RaceLab helps you improve your driving skills with modern overlays, race statistics, and native VR integration. You can get the best out of iRacing. Start using it now for free at racelab.app.
Today's broadcast is also proudly sponsored by ButtKicker. ButtKicker products add an incredible level of immersion and realism to any game. Feel every nuance and truly put yourself in the driver's seat. Check them out at thebutkicker.com.
Tonight's event is also brought to you by SIMMSA. Simulation Motorsports Affinity provides many consulting services, from completely customizing simulators to managing teams, individual drivers, and complete events. They're working hard to bring everyone together at one place to support and promote sim racing internationally. Find out how you can bridge the gap between virtual and real motorsports at SIMMSA.net.
And finally, the PRL GT AM series is brought to you by NinjaTrader. Ready to compete against the financial markets? Supporting over 60,000 users across the globe, NinjaTrader provides award-winning trading software and brokerage services. NinjaTrader is always free to use for advanced charting, backtesting, and trade simulation. Visit them at ninjatrader.com to get started with a risk-free trading simulator and start tracking your performance. Well, you heard me mention it at the top of the broadcast, and in this Ferrari Fixed Series, well, the top of that championship is already decided. Jonathan Wager guaranteed to be 2021 Season 4 champion. Eric Luke finishing behind him in second. He is also pretty much locked in, barring a massive, massive incident for Luke. John Stetzel, meanwhile, has his hands full as Rafael Bofill and Leif Hellberg both pretty close behind him. So that battle for third is one we're going to have to watch. But we also have a teams championship, Michael.
And the teams at the top of it, we've got Eagle Vision Racing with a nice sum of 437 points, but just 16 points behind Apex Button Box. A little farther back, we're looking at Improper Racing with 130 points back, followed by Parabola Racing Cobalt and Parabola Racing Midnight, 206 points back.
Indeed, so that race not fully decided quite yet, but we do want to run you through today's race details before we get to the qualifying session out here today. It is the final round, and it'll be a 35-minute race, as the name of the series would imply. It is a fixed setup, so it all comes down to the drivers themselves. You will get a drive-through penalty at 13 incidents and a disqualification at 17. That'll be something to keep an eye for, as this is a modern Formula One circuit with lots of asphalt runoff, and bonus points are available for pole, fastest lap, and 3 incidents or less. As we check in on those qualifying standings as of right now, Rafael Bofill up at the top of the list. There you can see the Improper Racing driver working his way around. He's got about a 1.2 second gap to Baron Glover behind him.
Coming up in third, looks like we have Randy Gross putting in some pretty respectable times, followed by Mark File with Peter Lee and Neil Alexander bringing out the top 6. Moving on to 7th, DJ, take there.
Well, in 7th, we have Owen McLaughlin, Barry Cochran behind him, Yannick Belleville, and David Bear. A decent amount off the pace right now. There you can see Owen McLaughlin coming up and over that very, very tricky turn 4, Michael. You know, that is one of the corners on this track that always seems to catch drivers out no matter what series we come to.
Turn 4 is a tricky one, and it is one of the named corners. The official track website calls that corner after one of my favorite, Mr. Mustachio, the big mustache man himself, the British racing driver that everyone knows and loves. One guess who it is? You got it? You know it? Nigel Mansell. That's right, Nigel Mansell. They named the corner after him. Now, when I'm coming up to this corner, I like to look for well beyond. There's a huge screen in the background that if you line the car up, you try to get right to that curbing on the right side, and you line the car up where you're pointing to that huge display screen that they use for the Formula One races, then you can just eke the car over the curbing on the inside of that and make a beautiful dash down to that really hard hairpin, the double right.
Indeed, as we jump on board with Eric Luke, and don't worry, Luke is one of the drivers who will be out there today. He had a little bit of a problem on his first lap, just had a spin, so came back into the pits and started out again. That's why we haven't seen him post a time. Watching him come through that final corner right now, turn 14, working his way onto the main straight. That'll be a 45.6 there if it sticks, but it doesn't look like it will. So Luke having a little bit of problems here. He'll probably have 1, maybe 2 more laps to get everything tied together. Here's another driver that hasn't set a time yet, Drew DeWeese. He'll cross over the line with a 46.4. That will stick, and it'll net him 13th.
Here comes Hoskins trying to pull his way around. Nice exit using all the track available. Rushing down towards that start-finish line. Looks like he's going to get a 1:46.792. Pretty decent lap. It's very hard to turn a good lap here because the runoff zones, you can pick up an X and that'll completely obliterate your lap time.
Yeah, you've got to be very, very careful of that indeed. Randy Gross working his way through the first of those sort of double hairpins that end out the lap. Gross is an independent driver here. He's going to bring that car around. Let's see if he's able to improve. Bofill goes even faster. David Criselli very close behind him. Doesn't look like Gross is going to be able to improve, but that 44.5, very quick time from Bofill.
44.5 is a really fast time here. We've got Bofill coming around. Looks like he's going to try to make this next to last hairpin. Nope, sorry, we're earlier. We're coming up to turn 2 here. I always confuse those turns when I'm watching here because they look so similar. Now, here's where I was talking about before, where he's coming up trying to set up for this turn 4. Looking off into the distance, get a nice run through here, not get too far deep into the gravel out on the right side to try to make his way around this double right-hander here.
Indeed, and he'll work his way up the hill. Now, this is the area of the track we don't anticipate a whole lot of passing going on. Very, very single file there through that turn 6, 7 chicane. Then this sweeper section, always very difficult to get anything done there. Although I will say we did see a hair bit of too wide action back when the GT3 Pro and AM series were able to come here earlier this season. Jumping up, though, there is David Cristelli. Cristelli is only about 18 hundredths of a second off of your leader, Beau Phil, as of right now.
Yeah, the eagle eye people in the audience will note there's an interesting little turtle on that left and right back where we were watching earlier. That turtle really designed to keep you off that curbing. Everybody wants to take that first curbing hard, and they want to take the second one hard, but it doesn't work so well as Cristelli comes across, looks like for a 144.593 as he brings it to a stop.
Indeed, so that'll take it out there for him. Here comes Eric Evans. He is involved in that team's championship with Team Apex Button Box. He'll cross over the line, not going to be able to improve there, and that'll be his day done and dusted, it looks like. As we're going to jump back now to Charles Sumner. He's coming out of that final corner. Let's see if Charles is able to put a lap time down here that will stick. It looks like it does, and Charles bumps his way up into 10th.
Nice little run to 10th place there. I think he had a really nice exit on that final corner, was looking for the prize at the end, and put the pedal to the metal, made it happen.
Eric Luke there coming out of that final corner as well. Luke not going to be able to improve, so he looks like he will be starting in 3rd. Not sure if we have anybody else out there that will be able to finish a lap, so that's going to get us ready to go through your grid here at the Hungaroring. As we get ready, I can tell you it is Rafael Beau Phil that will be lining up in that pole position. To his outside, it'll be David Cristelli. Eric Luke and Paul Wildridge will be behind him, with Baron Glover and Olivier Hartley in 6th. Randy Gross will be 7th, followed by Owen McLaughlin and Peter Lee, with Charles Sumner to his outside, round out your top 10.
Mark File's going to bring it into 11th, with Blake Ziti in 12th. Next row back, Neil Alexander alongside Barry Cochran, Drew DeWeese, Yannick Belleville, Eric Evans, Brian Hoskins, Joe McCauley, and David Herbert bringing out the top 20 with 21st place. Looks like we have Jonathan Wager, who did not set a time.
And that's going to be a little bit interesting. Wager, obviously the winner of this year's championship, not setting a time. I get the sense he just kind of wanted to test himself a little bit now that it is ready to go. But, all right, Michael, we talked a little bit about how difficult turn 4 is and some of that uphill section, but what are you going to be watching for?
Going to be watching for these dives into turn 1. Turn 1 is going to be one of your biggest passing opportunities. You've got a beautiful straight, a nice launch off that final corner to get down there. And then as we come around, probably right after turn 4, if you make that run that I was talking about with that focus on through the corner, you can actually get up on the inside as we have our pace car rolling off.
We do indeed, and Rafael Beau Phil will be leading this field to the green with Cristelli to his outside. So here they come through those final couple of corners. Pace car is going to pull off here, and then it is on the control of the leader. Here they go. Beau Phil already has a pretty big gap, and he's already on it. Green flag is out. We're racing at the Hungaroring. Look at that massive gap from David Hebert. Really separates out the entire field behind him. That is going to be Cristelli and Eric Luke going side by side. Paul Wildridge trying to see what he can find in there as well. They dive down into turn 1. It looks like Eric Luke will be able to hold on to that 3rd place position. Relatively single file through the rest of the field.
Ooh, nice clean start. Not too much argy-bargy going on there as we look at him going into turn 2. it's a little bit downhill, easy to find yourself off balance. Going through 3, looking up towards that turn 4. Nice single file to see how these guys work their way through turn 4.
Indeed it is, and look at that up front. David Cristelli, not to be denied here at the Hungaroring, already pushing ahead, but that's Eric Luke with a very aggressive move, and it spins the both of them, Cristelli and Luke, around in turn 5.
Oh, that's exactly kind of what I was talking about before, trying to get up underneath there as you run through 4. Are you brave enough to make it? Lap 1 might be a little bit hasty to try to do that. That's better saved for a later point in the race.
And just look what it has done to the gap back to the rest of the field. Rafael Bofill already with a 4, with a very, very, very large gap. It looks like about 3 seconds or so for the Argentinian driver. So a big gap between him and now second place Baron Glover. Paul Wildridge behind him with Randy Gross and Oliver Huntley, rounding out your top 5. But this looks like relatively smooth sailing for Bofill. Just a little bit of check on Jonathan Wager. He is already up into 17th.
Bofill's got a really nice gap here. Looking at that 3 seconds, now all he needs to do is manage that gap. With Glover behind him, Wildridge trying to make up a little ground on Wildridge, and Gross, hey, he's got to play a part of this too. These guys are going to make it tough if they don't work together. If they work together, they can possibly catch up to Bofill, but Bofill has shown some amazing form today.
Surely has, and there is Hartley off in a spin coming through turn 13. I'm not sure if he had a little bit of help there or not. Looking at that gap, it just looks like it's attempting to continue to grow here for Bofill. As you said there, Michael, just pushing ahead, running the laps that he needs to run. Glover not exactly looking like he has much to respond with, and he's got to be careful because Wildridge is filling up that rear view mirror.
Looks like we're going to have a hard battle for that second spot on the podium. These guys, they need to be thinking ahead. Oh, and what just happened to Glover?
Looks like he's got some sort of connection issues, potentially. Ooh, he's blinking in and out. I'm not liking the look of that. If I'm Paul Wildridge, I am very, very afraid right now. As we continue to watch there, looks like he's out. This is not good.
Oh, that's not good. The internet connection, that's the SimRacing version of the cut tire, that slow puncture. You know it's there, you know it could happen. It doesn't really happen in SimRacing, but we got to have our analog for it, and that's kind of our internet connection. How well is it working?
Exactly. Let's go back while we've got a minute and check out that opening wreck in turn 5 between Eric Luke and David Cristelli. Walk me through this one here, Michael.
So as we watch the setup here, it's a nice attempt to make a fast run through that turn 4 and try to get a little bit up the inside. There's a defense going on here. He doesn't want him to get too close to him. And as he comes through here, just clips, runs as far outside as he can, and then up the inside, just trying to squeeze it in there. Not a bad move, but again, cold tires, dusty track. This track is known for being dusty until you get about 5 or 6 laps into it. It's a little bit overzealous to try to get up in there. Here we see it from on top of the car. It's got a beautiful run down here. Can he make it? Can he make it? It looks good, but just a little bit of push out, wash out on those front wheels, and right into the side of it.
And that, unfortunately, has really scuppered the both of their races. We'll watch on board with Baron Glover here as he was in that popcorn position to just see absolutely all of this incident. There you can see, there's the dive, there's the touch. Glover, oh, very lucky there to escape that.
That's a very nice heads-up moment right there. That's Baron Glover knowing what's going on and just trying to watch where are those cars moving. Where can I place my car so that I don't get hit from behind, but I also make it through this without taking off anyone else's nose, including mine.
So he's going to be very lucky there, and that is what netted him second place. It looks like those internet issues have resolved themselves, although unfortunately it does look like we've had 2 other victims of those internet issues, that being Eric Luke and Barry Cochran. But as we continue to watch here, Glover's starting to put a little bit of distance between himself and Paul Wildridge, that gap expanding out to about 0.7 of a second or so as they continue to work their way around.
Yeah, I see Glover really making a nice run on turn 14. Oh, as he blinks out again. Oh, he may not have figured out what that problem was. Let's hope he gets that resolved, because he's got a wonderful launch off turn 14 that's helping him open up. He was up to about 9/10 from the time you said 7 to the time I started talking. He opened up 2/10 of a second through there, and looks like he's bounced back in. Ooh, I hope it comes back.
As do I. We're going to jump back in the field, though. This is the battle for P6. Owen McLaughlin currently leading Charles Sumner. Sumner having a great drive out here today, as he is up a couple of positions from his starting spot, up 4. He started off 10th, remember. And Sumner really here angling for a top 5 potentially. Currently riding in 7th place, as I said, working on Owen McLaughlin ahead of him.
Yeah, as Owen makes that little dive into this corner right here, watching out for that turtle. That turtle will take out the bottom of your car. Here's a good little brake zone. Gets out a little bit wide. Oh, I think we got a good run from Sumner here as he makes it up a good bit of ground going through the corners here.
Well, and then how important is that to be able to get the run through those sweepers? Obviously, we have the slower speed corners then that follow it in 12, 13, and 14, and you don't really get a chance to pass until turn 1, but how crucial is it to get that sweeper section correct?
Well, what happens a lot of times is people try to overrun that first little bit of those sweepers. They open up and open up and open up. So if you really focus ahead and think at least 2 turns ahead of where you are, you're going to make a better run around through that section and really make up a lot of ground, or open up a big gap to the driver behind you.
All right, well, it certainly looks like Charles Sumner is starting to pull that gap in as he closes up under braking into turn 1. Not quite close enough to make the move work, but he is certainly starting to put pressure onto the back of McLaughlin. And this is a little bit of that thing we always talk about here, Michael, potentially just putting on that pressure and seeing if he will crack.
Owen McLaughlin making a nice run. He's got a really good habit through that middle section. I've been watching through this race so far and watching what he's doing. He's really got a good move through there, and he's able to open up a good gap on Sumner. But Sumner has an incredible launch off turn 14 and is able to make up a lot of time, one with help of a little bit of draft, but also because he just gets a beautiful launch off that final corner. As we watch them go into this section again, ooh, bouncing off that turtle right there. Those orange turtles, man, they are killer. Hate hitting those things. But nice run through here. Watch as he comes through. Nice hug on the corner. Oh, just to the absolute limits of what he can do on the track here. Coming down and setting up for this little short shoot, a little bit wide on McLaughlin as they come down through here, setting up for this final stretch into the hairpins.
Well, and Sumner's got to be a little bit careful. That is Neil Alexander behind him in the 27. Alexander could catch up to him if he makes an ill-advised maneuver here, so certainly not out of the woods quite yet. But we check back here. This is Jonathan Wager. We're going to go check a replay here, as this was a fun little move that he threw down into turn 12. You don't always see passing there, Michael.
Well, if you get that run, just like we were talking about a moment ago, when you set up those sweepers as you're coming through there, you can make that run. If the car in front of you runs that first one wide, you have a beautiful opportunity to make that pass down into turn 12.
That's exactly what Jonathan did. He's already up 11 spots and into the top 10. Remember, this is your series champion out there, we believe, just kind of starting in the back to see what he could make of it. The 47 doing a good job to work his way forward. We check our eyes back to that battle we've been following. It looks like Sumner's been able to close in a little bit more, drop Neil Alexander, and he's now back into attack mode on Owen McLaughlin.
Yeah, he's making a nice little bit of hay while the sun shines. He's close enough to have a little bit of draft, but not so much that it's going to wash out his front tires. As they come back through this little twisty section, let's see how they build here. See, watch, they're not taking too much as they come out of this corner. It's kind of 3/4 of the way across the track, and then turn it in for this next corner to make your run down to this opening section all the way down to turn 12.
Yeah, Excuse me, I had to sneeze there. It's very much one of those things that you often hear driver coaches like yourself talk about, figuring out where to compromise on track. And taking a look there, it looks like Sumner doesn't exactly have quite as much speed through that final sector as he does in the first sector. So I wonder if that's maybe a setup thing or if that's just his own driver characteristics there.
I think we're looking at driver characteristics here. There's a really tough thing, and people who are familiar with stateside tracks like Summit Point will recognize turn 1 and what they call 1A, but Summit Point calls turn 2. If you really get down the throttle just right, that's going to help you a ton. And I found when I was doing a few ghost laps with these guys earlier on that was the place I was having the most trouble, was that really getting on throttle out of 1 to make the most of 1A as we watch. McLaughlin going a little bit wide. Sumner's got a better line through there, but it looks like McLaughlin was able to hold on to his gap there as they go through the Mansell corner.
Indeed, it looks like that gap is holding relatively solid here. Only about 0.7 of a second or so separating the two, so he's definitely holding it on and holding it on quite well.
Yeah, even looking at Neil Alexander coming up behind, that gap is all right around that 0.6. They may be biding their time. There's not a lot of time to play with, because right now we're looking at about 23 minutes to go. So it's time to start making some moves. You don't want to do them too early and burn your tires out, though.
No, you most certainly do not, and you bring up a good point that none of these drivers are really going to be taking tires during that pit stop cycle. New viewers may be a little bit curious about that, but it's just a little bit of risk versus reward. You only need fuel, make it a quick splash and dash, and these tires will very easily last to the end of the race.
Yep, as we have our first person going into the pits, that looks like Sumner.
It is indeed. So Charles Sumner pulling the trigger here early, not able to get by Owen McLaughlin on track. He's going to opt to try to do it here through the pit lane. Michael, how do you like that strategy?
I think it's a smart strategy. He was kind of stuck. He knew he was faster in some sections, but not others. There were other places where he just couldn't quite do what he needed to do. So Sumner taking the pit stop now and hopefully making that jump is going to get out into better traffic that's going to help him make up some time as he pulls away from his pit box with only an 8.6 second pit stop. So let's see how that works out for him.
We'll have to see indeed, and we'll keep our eye on that. He's going to have lots of clean track around him, so no real worries there for the driver of the 98 as he is back and getting up to speed. Let's go ahead, though, and focus back on a little bit of a battle behind that now, behind where we were watching. This is Blake Ziti trying to chase down Neil Alexander, and that is Jonathan Wager closing in behind them.
Yeah, Wager's trying to get right up underneath that wing just enough, but not get too close, although that is quite close. Is he going to make a pass here? I think he's going to try to set him up for going down into turn 12. A little bit of cover. Oh, punt the nose out. Let's see if he can make this stick as he holds on to that apex, gets under the throttle and pushes away.
Yeah, and that was Blake Ziti that it looked like he pushed there a little bit to just get out of his own way on that. So Wager, again, climbing his way back up through the field. That nets him up into 8th place.
Mighty fine run from the back. Sometimes, when you got it, you've got the whole thing bundled up and you want to have some fun. So it's hard to lead a race. You have to manage so much stuff. But when you get to the back like this and you just go, hey, I've got this one. I'm going to go have some fun now. This is a great way to do it, running through the pack. But you'll notice, if you think about the way it happens like in Formula One with Hamilton a few weeks ago at Brazil, the closer you get to the front of the pack, the harder it is to get through.
Indeed, as we've got another driver taking to go down pit lane here. That is Drew DeWeese, who is going to be popping down in that number 23 Parabola Racing Midnight Machine. Pulling down pit lane and going to take it right now. So that is going to be the second driver to have pitted. Sumner still is the highest driver, though, at this point, as he runs in 17th.
Drew DeWeese's pit stop was a little bit longer at 10.1 seconds, about a second and a half slower. So it'll be interesting to see how the fuel plays out for Sumner at the end. Did he take on enough? Is he going to have to do some lifting coast?
Oh, we've got a little bit of a battle on screen. This is Mark File, I believe, taking on Joe McCauley. Gets it done through 6 and 7. That is by sheer force of will alone.
Let's take a look at the replay here as they come back through. This will be interesting to see if it sticks. But watch as they come down here, coming into the corner. It looks like a little bit off speed. That's going to make it really difficult to keep the defense as we go down through 4. Popping up, get a nice run through here. Stay on the outside. Looks like it goes a little bit wide. Oh, the 777 car. And then get the nose back down, back onto throttle. Oh, this is a good maneuver right here. Oh, look at that. Get in there, get in there, get in there. And he makes that pass. Nicely done.
Very, very nicely done. And that was Brian Hoskins that we were riding on board with to try to see if he could get anything going there. That battle, though, continuing to rage a little bit. Hoskins holding on to the back of McCauley, seeing if he can do anything. Neil Alexander, the latest one to dive down pit lane.
Yeah, Hoskins, I think he's sitting there trying to take notes. How am I going to make that pass too? I like that method. I'm going to try that next time. Let's see if next lap he tries something similar.
Yeah, we'll have to see if that is what he likes or if he decides to go for something else a little bit there. As we continue to watch that battle, this is one of the closest ones out on track as of right now. That's a very wide line for McCauley, but it looks like it may have scared off Hoskins off the line a little bit.
Yeah, Hoskins sitting about half a second back on him right now. It's a tough choice. When do you try to make your runs? I like making passes on the track. Oh, as we get close up in there, Evans up onto Hoskins. Oh, coming into this super tight corner. Oh, and runs him wide. We've got one going on to that runoff area. Who was that?
That was Joe McCauley running off there a little bit as he's able to at least gather the car and keep it ahead as of right now of Brian Hoskins. They continue to go around. They've got to be careful. That's Eric Evans and Yannick Belleville behind them, who could get very interested in this battle if anything were to happen.
Yeah, this battle that they're having has allowed Belleville to catch up. That gap is closing down pretty tight. Belleville is only about 0.4 off of Evans, who's only about 6 off of Hoskins. Hoskins and McCauley need to get the game together now and start to try to pull away from these guys. They keep battling like this. It's going to be a 4-way battle for, looks like, 10th position.
Yeah, indeed it is. So it is the bragging rights there to stand on the final step of the podium. Looks like Hoskins there trying to think about a little bit of a run. He took a poke at the nose to the inside, but McCauley's got it covered off. He is not going away from that racing line. Fades over on to hit that apex, and it's going to have to be another corner there for Brian Hoskins to be able to make that move.
Yeah, sometimes you want to get your nose out there a little bit. One, as a, hey, I'm here, but also you need to get the car slowed down, and having that little extra wind resistance helps you. If you're going too fast, trying to make a run up as we come up to turn 4 here. Oh, sorry, going through 3, setting up for 4. Did we get a course cut? No, looks like he had a good run, but he slowed down a little bit.
Yeah, he did. Just, I think, maybe a little bit offline there as they come back up the hill through turn 5. And that is Eric Evans that is closing in on the back of Haskins right now. So Evans getting very, very interested in this battle. He's been able to drop Yannick Belleville just a little bit and pull away.
Yeah, he's got a little over a second back to Belleville. I'm thinking Evans has got a little bit better brake setup here. He may have been able to dial his brake balance in a little bit better than these guys, and he's able to brake later and maintain a little bit more of that V-min, that velocity minimum through the middle part of the corner. As we look at a little bit of impatience coming. Oh, as we try to hold on to the inside, he's not going to do it. Is he going to get a double pass? We're going to get 2 going through here. Oh, coming up to turn 13. A little bit of that. Oh, argy-bargy gets a little bit sideways. Oh, looks like 2 people got around him. That's tough.
It's not going to be the best day, but ooh, there's a fight back for McCauley. He's going to stick his nose to the inside. He's going to be able to hold off Eric Evans for now. Evans, meanwhile, is now under assault and in a flat-out drag race between himself and Yannick Belleville.
Ooh, Belleville's worked his way back up into here. He's got a good spot, but I think he's going to wait and save this fight for another day. Sees there's a little bit too much going on in front of him. He wants to let that play out a bit right now.
Going to go back and check out the replay on that action. There you can see that little bit of contact between Evans and McCauley. We're going to go and check this out a little back further now. So this is Hoskins able to make that move around the outside of McCauley in that number 15. Eric Evans then starts to look a little bit interested in it, dives in, has to check up off the apex. That's the contact between the two of them. And then as they come around, and that would explain to me then why Eric Evans went as wide as he did, Michael, through turn 14. I think that was a little bit of sportsmanship that was giving that position back.
Yeah, I noticed there was a little communication between them. They had their radios active, and it looks like they were talking and saying, that wasn't quite fair, maybe give the spot back. So yeah, good job on sportsmanship right there.
And that's something we've come to expect a lot from the Precision Racing League. But as they continue along, I unfortunately think it is a little bit only a matter of time here for Joe McCauley, as Eric Evans definitely looks like he has the speed over that Repsol liveried Ferrari. But just to check you back in on the rest of the field and how things are going, Rafael Bofill continues to lead. Baron Glover and Paul Wildridge, not a lot separating the two of them behind him, but Bofill has led this flag to flag and hasn't looked like he has put a tire wrong.
Bofill is playing the perfect game right here. He got a really great start. He was able to open that up, and he's maintaining between 4 and 5 second gap this entire race. So he is just running his race. He doesn't have a battle. He doesn't have to worry about anything. The only thing he needs to wait for is pit stops.
Well, and speaking of which, we have had about 4 drivers out on track come in and take their stops. Barry Cochran doing a very, very early one on lap 19. I don't think that'll see him or on lap 4 rather. I do not think that will get him to the end. So I do anticipate these drivers coming down pit lane probably within the next 4 minutes or so, unless there is some mega fuel saving going on, and I haven't really seen any signs to indicate that from any of these drivers.
Yeah, if anybody's fuel saving right now, it's Bofill, but I think he's enjoying his place out front and not thinking too much about it. He's just listening to the voice in his ear tell him when he needs to come in for a pit stop. So the rest of this pack, though, they are definitely going hammer and tongs as we watch who's that coming into the pit? That's Wager coming into the pits right now.
All right, and he had just come up behind Peter Lee. We also have Rafael Bofill and Paul Wildridge both diving down pit lane here. So 2 of your leaders as well as your champion for this series all diving in.
You have good time to be in the pits. You don't want to spend too much time here. I don't think anybody's going to be taking on tires. This is just an opportunity to get enough fuel to get to the end of the race.
Exactly. We're seeing pit stops average out to about 9 seconds at the most. That was a very, very slow stop for Jonathan Wager. It looked like 11.9, so that's not going to be great for him. Waiting to see where he is going to pop back out. Obviously, the point here that it is not going to be behind is Charles Sumner, as Sumner has already come in and out of pit lane. Yep, there is Sumner in for the car Ramrod team. As little battle there shaping up behind. That's a bear as he is trying to hold off Neil Alexander.
Yeah, good run from Alexander trying to come up down that straightaway and get that late braking. Watch as we go into turn 2 here. He's going to try the late apex. Oh, I think we're going to be set up for a turn 5 pass if I had to call it here.
Well, Neil certainly is thinking the same way, but he's going to have to go. He may be doing it down into 4. That's a hard place to get the pass done. Neil Alexander parks it on the apex and gets by. Brilliant work from the 27.
Oh, that was a brave move. Brave move as Alexander tries to come back, but I don't think he's going to be able to make it here. The best move for Alexander right now, just stick in behind and see where this develops.
Yeah, I have to agree with you on that. So Neil is able to get his way up. He is one of those drivers that has pitted. Can also report that Randy Gross and Peter Lee and Blake Ziti all diving down pit lane. Baron Glover and Owen McLaughlin both look like they are staying out.
Baron seems to have his internet problem fixed, or at least working adequately for the moment, as he sets up nice setup right through there. Now he's going to head down turn 4 as he just brings the car over to the right side and looks through the corner, gets back on the gas coming into turn 5. That was a beautiful run, beautifully set up. It's easy when nobody's around you trying to knock you offline or pass you. It's a whole lot easier to set up these turns.
Indeed it is. And so Glover is now the leader of the race there. He's got about a 10-second gap back to Owen McLaughlin, who rides in second, and about 28 seconds back to who we anticipate being the leader when everything is said and done, that being Raphael Beaufil. Paul Wildridge, the car he was battling with beforehand, Wildridge is running about, looks like 34 and a half seconds behind him. And pit stops being flag to flag anywhere between about 35 to 38. I think Paul may have a little bit of a jump here.
Running this late, he's got to be taking on fuel. I'm thinking he's going to be a little over a 9.5, maybe 10-second pit stop. This could be a tough one to pull out.
It will indeed, and with the bend. Oh, as we are getting news that Jonathan Wager has just wrecked out. Your champion here has had an issue. Yeah, look at the damage on the rear wing of that Ferrari.
Ooh, that wing, they're not designed to work at that angle.
I'm pulling it back. This looks like it was on this lap coming through turn 4.
Turn 4 is a challenging turn. There had to be something going on. Maybe someone in front of him messing up with the air a little bit. Oh, comes through. Oh, just gets a little bit too much of that curb. That green and white on the very outside. It coaxes you out there. Hey, you can use me. You can use me. And then it just knocks you around. Let's watch as he sets up for the corner here, looking off to that big monitor in the background. Coming through, gets to the outside. A little touch on that green and white, and that sends him spinning around.
And that is going to pretty much effectively end his day out here. He's going to keep trundling along, but I doubt he'll be able to climb his way up farther than his current 7th place position. Up front, though, it continues to be Raphael Beaufil now that pit stops have cycled themselves back around. Baron Glover about 6 seconds behind him. And Paul Wildridge about 0.5 of a second behind Glover.
Yeah, looks like Wildridge is trying to make a setup for setup on Glover, but it's going to be tight to come through here. I would expect to try to make that pass going into 12, but if they want to try to catch up to Beaufil, they're going to need to work together. My thought is they've decided to sit here and say, look, we're going to battle for second. Beaufil's way too far ahead. We're not going to make up that 6 seconds in the remaining time of this race.
Yeah, I've got to kind of agree with you on that one, Michael. If I'm one of these drivers, I'm just going to do what I can to try to take the best podium position that I can, because I have not seen anything that is remotely close to matching the outright pace of Raphael Beaufil. Looks like Glover's best lap was a 45.1. Wildridge was a 45.6. Beaufil's best lap, a 44.7.
That's blazing. On full fuel, running a mid 44 or a high 44 like that, that's an absolute blazing lap. And it's hard to make an answer for that one, especially when you're trying to battle for second. And these guys are definitely going at it hard. If you watch, they're coming out of the corners. You're seeing that rear end get a little bit wiggly. They've got to get on that throttle a little bit sooner. But, if it's just a little bit too soon, well, then you lose that rear end, and there goes your straight line speed.
Yeah, exactly. So they are definitely going to be hoping that they're not going to have anything bad happen to him. Whoa, this is Owen McLaughlin in a little bit of a battle right now. I believe that is Jonathan Wager.
Yep, Owen McLaughlin going around Jonathan Wager, or trying to. Wager's doing a mighty fine job with a bent-up car, trying to get around. Nice positioning. Is he going to make a run, try to hold on to this position? or did Wager make that pass? If
Wager made the pass. I don't believe my eyes. Yeah, let's check this out on replay. I can't believe he pulled this off. We were for sure that car was incredibly damaged, Michael.
I thought that was the other way around. I honestly didn't believe he had made that pass. I thought it was going to be Sumner, but nice setup, comes running around, gets on the throttle, a little bit wiggly coming around the corner, but he gets the power down well enough, and it looks like McLaughlin just tries to slot in behind him.
Yeah, indeed he does. So Owen, there's not a whole lot he could do on that lap, but just going to hold it out the best that he can, and Wager, it's one more position for your champion.
Oh, maybe he's getting a little extra downforce from that wing. They normally don't work at that angle, but if it's working right for him, more power to him. Keep rocking on, my friend.
Exactly, and he'll be happy to just keep on going. As we talked to him last time around, that he may have to be bumped up in a series here because his talent has just been absolutely spectacular this season. As he's going to cross over the line, I believe there's about 3 laps to go here. Ooh, nice little battle shaping up for P9. Blake Ziti closing in on Neil Alexander.
Trying to set him up, coming around that final corner, turn 14, using as much of that track exit as he can get. Just sitting right behind him, holding on. We're going to see a nose out here any second. Is he going to try to make this happen? No, I think he's a little bit too far back as they come into the braking zone for turn 1. Get on the throttle for 1A, heading down to that hairpin of turn 2.
Indeed, ZD able to pick up a little bit of a draft here as they work their way through those corners. Not enough to make a move, but still continues to threaten Neil Alexander.
Now let's see if we can watch him as he makes this setup for turn 3. Although it looks like Alexander's trying to open up a little bit. Had a much better run coming out of turn 3 as he runs hard through 4, gets a little bit wide. But fortunately, the green and white does not do to him what it did to our series champion.
Indeed, he can thank his lucky stars for that. ZD continues to follow behind to the tune of about 0.7 of a second. Oh, big catch.
And he had such a nice run going through there too. A little bit of a touch on the wall. I don't know if that's going to affect him too much. Let's watch. Oh, let's take a look back here. We've got Drew DeWeese from Parabola Racing Midnight trying to make a run down. Is this turn 12? Yes, it is. No, it's not turn 12. This is his run up on ZD.
Exactly, and this is as a result of that bobble we just saw Blake ZD have, and so now Drew DeWeese is saying, I'd like to be able to take over that top 10 position from you. By the way, just an update, we are 2 laps to go as these drivers cross the line. Rafael Beaufil has closed down with that gap. So, DeWeese now trying to close in on ZD. Does ZD have any car damage because of that incident? Is that going to slow him down at all?
That contact with the wall might have made a little bit of a dimple on that left front, but looks like he's holding on to speed coming down into the braking zone of turn 1. Comes in, perfect apex, nice throttle application. Oh, and it looks like while ZD's got it right, DeWeese is a little bit hard on the throttle, getting out wide as we come down to turn 2.
Indeed! Oh, no, that's just the corner. I thought that was a spin from Blake ZD. You'll have to excuse my excitement. ZD able to keep good power down, though, through turn 3 and up the run through turn 4. I'm impressed he's been able to keep everything under him, especially with as scary of an incident as that was.
Yeah, let's go take a look back here at Beaufil. This is going to be, we're not quite to our white flag lap yet, but Beaufil is absolutely making hay while the sun shines. He's still holding on to that 5.5 second lead.
He is indeed running a 46.3 that last lap out there, and that is just faster than Baron Glover behind him, but he's going to come to the line right now, pick up that white flag.
He's absolutely pacing Glover. He's watching in his mirror or listening to his crew chief who says, hey, you're holding the gap. It's 5.5. You don't have to go any faster. Just bring that car home. Let's stand on the top step of the podium and share that champagne after you're down.
Exactly. We're going to jump back to Jonathan Wager, though, because it looks like his charge through the field is not done. Trying to put a move right now on Peter Lee. He's going to be down to the inside, and even with a damaged car, the 47 is able to get his way up into the top 5.
pulling his way into top 5 right now. That's a beautiful job in braking. His brakes are doing great wonders for him. It's all braking for him. The passes we've watched him make, these past 2 as he's worked his way through, they've been 100% on his talent on that brake pedal.
Indeed, they have. Wildridge looks like he has fallen back off the tail of Baron Glover a little bit. We're going to check this replay to see exactly what happened. He was within about 0.5 of a second. Everything looks nice there. Starts to poke his nose a little bit coming up to turn 4. And then, does he fall victim to those green curves? Yes, he does.
That is an absolute replay of what we watched earlier happen. That corner just wants to, well, except for the nose and tail into it. He had a little better result out of it. But man, when you get that, and here we come up to the finish with Raphael Bofill.
Exactly, Bofill coming out of turn 14 for the final time. The driver of the 786 will cross the line and take victory here in the season finale for the PRL Ferrari Fixed Series. Behind him, it looks like Baron Glover will have his season best finish of P2. Paul Wildridge will round out your podium. Jonathan Wager, I believe, yes, I was able to get 5th at the line.
Ooh, and he was trying to make that push. I think he was looking for 4th. He just needed one more braking zone to make it.
There's that battle we were following. Alexander, Zidi, and Deweese coming across the line in 9th, 10th, and 11th. Just waiting for the last couple of guys to come through here at this point. Oliver Hartley making his way around. Hartley seeing if there's anything to be had over Brian Haskins. I don't think there will be, and indeed they all make their way out of the corners for the final time. Their lap and races are done here at the Hungaroring. And that's going to bring us right to our finishing order here tonight. As we said, Raphael Bofill able to take victory at the Hungaroring. Behind him, it was Baron Glover and Paul Wildridge. Randy Gross was in 4th, and Jonathan Wager, after not setting a time during qualifying, was able to rise up through the field and make his way into P5. Peter Lee was 6th, followed by Owen McLaughlin, with Charles Sumner on a great drive to come home 8th, followed by Neil Alexander and Blake Zidi, who rounds out your top 10.
P11, we have Drew DeWeese alongside with Mark File bringing it in P12. Yannick Belleville, followed by Brian Hoskins, Oliver Hartley, Eric Evans, David Herbert, Joe McCauley, Barry Cochran, David Cristelli, and then in 21st, 18 laps down from an early incident, Eric Luke.
Indeed, and we are going to talk to our 3rd place finisher here, Paul Wildridge. Paul, I've got to start with some of the bad, man. How terrified were you on that last lap with that little incident coming out of turn 4?
Oh, come on. That was on purpose. No, I think I'm going to have to change after that one.
I can imagine, but an entire race-long battle with Baron Glover. Talk me through that, man. Talk me through trying to get by him and all of that.
So in the beginning, he had some connection issues, but he was quick as all get out. And then he was always faster out of the last turn, so I couldn't get a run on him down the front stretch, but I would always kind of catch him in the twisty bits. That last chance I had was he kind of made a mistake and went wide, so I went for it, and we both were loose right next to each other. So, but it was a good battle. I was kind of excited to see him come out in front of me in the pits because I wanted to battle at the end.
I know that feeling all too well, Paul. And I mean, unfortunately, it is the close of 21 Season 4 here, and we look to next season. Are we going to see you back in Ferrari Fixed? Are you planning on moving up, or how's it going to go?
No, we're staying in Ferrari Fixed. Me, Owen, and John, we had too much fun battling that team championship against Apex Button Box, so we should all be back again next season. It was just a blast running this car.
Well, fantastic, man. We look forward to seeing you. Anybody you'd like to thank for the run today?
Yeah, my boy Fred out in Pennsylvania, and then also my boy Dennis down in Puerto Rico. And then you guys, of course, what an awesome broadcast you guys put on.
Well, thank you. When you make the racing this good, Paul, it's not too hard to put on a good broadcast. But that was Paul Wildred, your third place finisher here today. And now, Michael, I believe you've caught up with Peter Lee, our sixth place finisher.
So, Peter, congratulations on making your way into the top 10. Top sixth place. Nice finish for today. How did this work when you had the script in your head of how this race was going to run?
Well, thanks. And I'm really here on behalf of Team Improper with Raphael Bofil. And Rafa is a little bit shy on microphone, and so I'm representing both of us. And really kudos to him for a great pull and great win. And, we came into this race just wanting to hold on to P3 by the skin of our teeth in the team standings. And, hopefully, I guess we'll see in the scores, but hopefully we did that.
So I take it you've talked to Raphael, maybe even inter-team communication. Was it his goal through this race to just try to hold onto that gap, or was he really trying to drive all out and just couldn't open it up anymore?
Well, on radio, he was not pushing that hard for that first fuel stint. And then I told him, hey, Rafa, Jonathan wagers on my gearbox. And so he didn't say much, but I'm guessing his lap times went down.
So with Jonathan wager on your gearbox, knowing he's got the championship all done up and he's kind of just racing for fun today, when you see that car coming up and you take a look in the mirror and you see that rear wing is not at quite the right angle, it's not as flat as it normally is. Did you think he had a chance to get around you? Did you think you'd be able to hold him off?
Well, he got around me, I think, before he bent his car, and then he had a incident out of turn 4, which is just so treacherous, and I thought he was done, and then I saw him with that bent wing, and it's a little disheartening to see someone that is just closing in on you that fast with a broken car when mine's perfectly fine.
Yeah, a mangled car catching you is always a little on the disconcerting side for sure. So any message that you and your team want to put out there? What's the plan for next season? Are you guys going to hang here? Are you going to move on? What's the plan?
Well, we just had a blast this season, and we really give kudos to you guys for the broadcast. They've just been so great to watch, and all the organizers. And so we feel like we've just come to grips with these Ferraris, and so we're going to reconstitute the same Improper racing team and do it again next season.
Yeah, I love the name of the team. I think it was a stroke of genius to call it Improper Racing. Thanks for being here. Thanks for putting on a good race. DJ, why don't you take us out?
Well, thank you, Michael, and thank you, everybody, for joining us here for this Ferrari Fixed Season finale. But do not go anywhere. We are about to be right back with the finale of the Precision Racing League's GT3 AM Series from Mount Panorama.
Hey there, I'm Nicholas Dubois, co-founder of Advanced SimRacing. We are a Canadian company. So what we did here today is for a real petrol head. He's really passionate about cars, as you can see behind me. We did a turnkey solution for him based on his needs. We try to gather as much information as we can on our client. And like we did today, we install a D-box system. We install ultra-wide cube control steering wheel. We try to provide the best quality for your budget. So let's say if you want a budget of 10 grand, we're gonna give you something that's the best for 10 grand. If you want 20 grand, then we always try to stay within your boundaries. We do try to make it as easy as possible. So the client, once we install everything, it's pretty much gonna be a turnkey. So he's gonna press start on his computer, and right after, we'll try to explain everything, how it goes, how it works, and then he's ready to go. Our aluminum is from USA, treated in Canada, cut in Canada. So we do sand all our aluminum piece just to make sure the powder coat sticks to it. And that's one of the reasons why we use powder coat, is to make sure you have the best aluminum finish in the industry. And our quality is beyond what you can get with any other competitors right now. We are really passionate about all the gear, all the cockpits, all the sim hardware, and that's why we want to create something that's really going to reflect our passion into our product. Come visit us at advancedsimracing.com. You can always reach us if you have any questions. You can call us, you can text us, you can go on Facebook, like our page, ask us questions over there, and we'll make sure to answer every questions there is. We are very passionate about what we do, and we try to make it as easier for you to go into the sim racing world, because there's a lot of gear, there's a lot of options, but let us guide you through your process, and let's hope you'll be an Advanced Sim Racing customer.
Welcome back to the Global Sim Racing channel. We are here in Australia at one of the most historic circuits in the world, Mount Panorama. Let's head over to our track guide to learn a little bit more about it.
Welcome to Mount Panorama Circuit. Most drivers simply refer to this place as Bathurst, with it being located just to the southwest of the city's major hub. But most ominously, and perhaps appropriately, it's been nicknamed the Mountain. With more than 500 feet of elevation change over the course of a lap, it's easy to understand why. Though originally built for racing, it's become a street circuit over time, with the track itself used for regular traffic and featuring residential housing all along the roads. This makes this 4-mile, 23-turn course incredibly unique in the world of racing. In the past, the track has hosted a variety of types of cars, including open-wheelers. But modern safety standards means that most competitive racing has now been limited to sports cars and touring cars. However, the dangers are very real due to the incredibly high speeds and lack of runoff throughout much of the circuit. The quickest parts are the run up the mountain straight towards Griffin's Bend, and then the flat-out blast back down the Conrad Straight and into the chase. This chicane was added in the late 80s to break up the run down to Murray's Corner. But while most chicanes are derided for ruining the character of a track, the terrifying speed as you approach it and the general difficulty make it fit right in with Bathurst challenges. However, the toughest portions are undoubtedly along the mountain itself, with notorious corners like the Cutting, Brock's Skyline, the Dipper, and Forest's Elbow. In fact, one of the more unique worries of this course is that all of these parts are so narrow that track blockages due to wrecks are not uncommon in the first few laps. The Australian fans often line the fences and hillsides to witness the daredevil spectacle of drivers trying to claim King of the Mountain. You can't blame them with how rare of a sight a track like Bathurst is today.
Well, Michael, that was a look at the circuit as a whole, but with these GT3s out there, what can we expect?
Well, this course is going to bring us quite a challenge over its 4 miles, a little over 6.2 kilometers. There are 23 absolutely grueling turns in this particular configuration, and it's a 40-minute race to try to make your way through that.
It certainly will be, but before we get to that, we want to bring your attention right to the championship standings here, because unlike that last season, or series rather, there is still a little bit up for grabs technically in this championship. Vincent Trepanier holds a 37-point advantage right now over Caven Norris. Now, why is that number crucial? It is because if Trepanier gets the pole, or any other driver out here besides Caven Norris gets the pole, that will be the nail in the coffin, and Vincent Trepanier will be declared champion. If Trepanier is able to finish this race at all, he will be declared champion. The only hope that Caven Norris has of taking this championship is if Trepanier is not able to finish 50% of the laps and does not get the pole. So we'll have to keep an eye for that. But that's your top two. Behind them, Robbie Campbell is relatively close in front of Nathan Nicholson, who's trying to chase him down, and not too far back from that, it's Claude Belval. Jean-Claude Langlois is pretty close there as well as Alexandre Breton. So some pretty close battles there outside of the top two. But we also have a teams championship. What can you tell us about that, Michael?
Well, in the teams championships, at the top with 422 points, we have ASR AMA, followed about 20 points behind. Well, exactly 20 points behind at 402 points. It's NTR Motorsports, their yellow team. Now, going back to 82 points back and 89 points back, we have a good battle for that third place slot between TML Motorsports and YS Motorsport, with fifth place being pretty well locked up. We'll see how it works out on the points with Parabola NFR.
Indeed, and just to walk some of our new viewers through what will be going on out on track today, this is the race details. It is the final race of this series. As we said, it is the 10th out of 10. It is going to be a 40-minute race there out here today. There is a mandatory pit stop that must be taken, and it is open setup, so drivers are able to tweak and tune those cars based on what they want best. And then you do have the same disqualifications as the previous round. 13 incidents will get you a drive-through, and 17 will get you disqualified. And then there are bonus points available for fastest lap, pole, or 3 incidents or less. Drivers are currently out trying to scrap for that first bonus point in pole position. And look who it is on top. It's Vincent Trepanier. Not
a surprise to see Trepanier up there. Really good driver. Devin Horvath trying to close it up behind him with only a 0.119 second gap. That's getting close. That is really close on this particular track.
Yeah, indeed it is, with just as many corners that get thrown at you and just as many places to make a bobble. It's very impressive that he is that close behind. Rob Campbell and championship hopeful Caven Norris are third and fourth, with Nicholson rounding out your top 5. Pretty good disparity there of the car makes as they come down through there. It's BMW, Porsche, Ferrari, BMW, Porsche, as you see all of them there. Right now we have about 5 minutes left to go in qualifying, so drivers all out there trying to see what they can set down.
Yep, this is a really interesting. It's kind of German dominated here. My favorite car to drive here is not represented at all. I like the AMG at this particular track because it has so much torque, so much power. And when you're on those long straightaways, it's just cool to listen to that motor roar.
Indeed. And unfortunately, yeah, we haven't really seen a lot of that AMG this season. Same with the Audi for that matter as well. Watching Trepanier, though, come down into that final corner down through Murray's. Is he able to go any faster on that lap? Doesn't look like it, but it does look like that Alexandre Breton is able to bump his way into fourth, and I saw Kyle Robertson put his way into fifth. As there you can see Robertson making his way down the mountain straight.
Ooh, and just got nicked. He's now in 6th place, with Belval coming up into 5th place at the moment.
Indeed. So Belval putting a good lap down there. Still some time left on the clock, about 3 minutes. Here comes Bowie Suin. Looks like Bowie's going to practice his pit in.
Yeah, pit in is really important here. You can lose this race by trying to get into the pits too fast. The back and forth, that little snaking that you have to make getting into the pits can make or break a race just in a heartbeat.
Indeed it can. Here's one of the drivers, though, that hasn't been able to set a time yet. This is Nikos Xanadakis as he takes his machine down through Murray's corner. We've seen some chances to overtake there and into the chase. Let's see, though, if Nikos is able to get a time on the board. Doesn't look like it. So Nikos is going to have just about one more lap to be able to get this done, and that'll be his only shot. Nathan Nicholson right now, this looks like a bit of a warm-up lap for the 56, so Nicholson's going to have to power his way around here. He'll have enough time to squeak one more in.
Yeah, this track is unusually punishing. It's an open and closed track. You have sections where the wall is so close, especially when you're looking up in areas like through the cutting, Griffin's Bend. You're right up on the wall. Not to mention the dipper. The dipper is the one that'll make anybody scream. And then you come out, you're going down Conrad Straight. It looks like you've got miles of open on each side. Now there is a wall there, but it just feels so much broader, especially as you've come out of that tight section on the mountain.
Indeed, and so drivers are going to be looking at that, hoping maybe that they're not going to get caught out too badly by it. But right now, we follow Claude Belval as he works his way around right now, not able to improve on that lap, unfortunately.
So, interesting side note here. I just noticed one of my clients is actually in this race, and I helped him work on preparation for this race earlier this week.
Dare I ask?
I don't know if I want to say who he is because I know he's going to do a great job, but I want to make sure he does a great job. So I'll tell you at the end of the race, if he does a fantastic job, I'll tell you exactly who it was, and I'm going to take all the credit. No, I'll give him some credit.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Well, here we watch Nikos Xanadakis working his way around. Remember, we were following this car a few laps ago. Let's see if Nikos is able to put in a time here to get a good lap down. Nikos driving that car around right now. Comes in line with a 2:03.5, and that's going to stick for 11th.
Ooh, nice little push at the end there. That's really good place to make up some time as you're making into that braking zone for Murray's. Murray's is one of the harder places because you're going downhill. Oh, as we get a little sideways, see what I mean? Murray's can be tough. You overrun it a little bit, try to get on the pit straight a little bit too quick, and that'll put you into that wall.
Ooh, not the best way to do it, but that means that qualifying is over here at Mount Panorama, and that's going to lead us through running through your grid. Starting off in pole, and by so doing, securing the championship, it is Vincent Trepanier. Starting in second alongside him, it will be Devin Horvath, followed by Rob Campbell and Kevin Norris. Claude Belval will be fifth, followed by Alexandre Breton, with Kyle Robertson in seventh and Philippe Magnon in eighth. Nathan Nicholson will be ninth, and Ethan Tavitas rounds out your top 10.
Coming in 11th, we have Richard Swindells alongside Nikos Xanadakis. Marc-Andre Desjardins brings in 13th position next to David Morse, followed by Jason Burmeister, Bowie Swen, Michael Pabalano, Paul Espina, Kwok Nen, and bringing out the top 20, we've got Jean-Claude Langlois. Langlois. My French should be way better than this. I love going to France. My French should be way better.
Well, you are all good, Michael, but we also have a couple of live driver cams here today that we want to walk you through. First off, it is going to be Kevin Norris, who will be starting out in that number 4 position. There is Kevin. He's got a bow tie on. I approve of this. You look good, my friend. You look very, very good. So Kevin there giving us a nice little fancy view to start off the race. Behind him, we also have Paul Espina, who will be lining up. There is Paul's multifaceted layout. You can see him just getting ready. I love watching that pedal cam there as well. And also today, we have Kyle Robertson, who is giving us a live view. There is Kyle. So I don't think we've ever seen Kyle be in the same position twice. It always looks like he's racing in a new room. So Kyle there will be starting off a little farther back in the field, but we're ready to go racing out here for the moment. As drivers get ready, all eyes turn to that iRacing pace car. Working their way around here. It will be Vincent Trepanier in control once that pace car pulls off into the pit lane. There goes the pace car, waiting for Barney the flagman to give that green flag or for Vincent Trepanier to get onto the loud pedal. Waiting still, and there he goes! We are racing in Bathurst! That is Trepanier with a great start on the rest of the field. Horvath tries to pull in behind him. Rob Campbell looking for maybe a little bit of something on the inside. Not going to have it. That's going to be Caven Norris slotting in behind him and maybe getting a run here, as is Devin Horvath.
Trepanier being a little trepidatious as he comes out of Hell Corner, trying to make sure he makes it through there without any incident at all, making the long run down the straight here, trying to get into Griffiths Bend.
And it looks like there the Caven Norris was the only one who was thinking about poking his nose around. Everybody relatively light there. Kyle Robertson taking a little bit of a later apex. But right now, Devin Horvath definitely continuing to hassle Vincent Trepanier up front. And Rob Campbell not losing sight of the back of them. It's a real hornet's nest behind them, though, with Norris, Belval, and Breton. You can throw a sheet over those three BMWs.
Yeah, those BMWs making nice power going up the hill. Now, once these tires get up to temperature and once everybody kind of settles in, you go through right there at the cutting, you can put your foot down and take it all the way through Reed Park, Solomon Park, and McPhillamy Park. Maybe a little lift to try to get the nose around to head down towards Skyline.
Oh, and there was a big off for Horvath coming up before Skyline. He has towed back to the pits. Horvath is out of the race.
Oh, that's a tough hit right there. But as we watch coming down through is trying to set up. You want to put the car right out towards that last Falcon. Beautifully set up, trying to make the run down the Conrad straight. Let's hope he doesn't lose any connecting rods as he makes his way down here.
Indeed, there you can see those drivers starting to tuck up behind in the draft, and that is Rob Campbell, who will inherit second place away from Devin Horvath. It's pulling in now as they go along right here, looking down through the rest of the field to see if anybody's going to pop their nose out. I think Tabitas is going to have a look there potentially. Yes, he's got it.
Ooh, good move from Tabitas. As we look on at Kyle Robertson trying to look in. Is he going to make a move? Getting that nose in, coming down into. Oh no, makes a little decision. Robinson goes a little bit wide, trying to make a drag race down to the start-finish line.
And that's Philippe Mignon diving down to his inside in that Lamborghini. The lone Lambo in the field is going to get down to the inside of Hell Corner. They're going to be in another drag race down the mountain straight now, and that's going to allow for Nico Zanadakis and Richard Swindells to poke in behind. Zanadakis says, well, you two are squabbling. I'm going to take you both.
Zanadakis making a nice move into. Oh, are we gonna go too wide into here? This would not be a good place to be too wide, guys. There you go, working it out together. Now let's try to make our way up the hill. Oh, as we got the Lamborghini trying to make up more room here.
That is Philippe Mignon looking very, very aggressive and very, very wide there through the cutting. He's able to hold that car back up and underneath him. He's gonna be very thankful that not anything worse happening to him.
Well, with 37 minutes to go, you want to make it to the end of the race. Probably one of those life-saving moves. He would push this, I think, later in the race. But right now, you want to sit in, try to get into the groove, watch what the groove of the guys in front of you is, and then make your decisions on what your move's going to be later on.
Exactly, and so that looks like exactly what he's doing. We watch out the back of Kyle Robertson right there. You see that face of pure concentration as he works his way down the hill right now and through Forest Elbow, getting that perfect line that you talked about.
Yeah, let's see if he can hold on to it, though, because the draft is mega powerful here. You've got to get an amazing run out of Forest Elbow to try to get your way down towards the cutter.
And he's certainly tried to in there, but not able to get it working quite yet. You see the wheel starting to vibrate a little bit. That is Zanadakis directly ahead of him.
I said the cutting actually meant the chase. Wrong side of the track, but equally impressive to get down that through that really nicely as we come into the final run down towards Murray's Corner. Getting a nice apex, a little bit wide for Robertson there.
That's the second time we've seen him do that. It looks like he's just struggling ever so slightly there, getting that car wound down into that corner. I will say, though, Richard Swindell is starting to put some pressure on Philippe Mignon, though.
One thing about the Porsche, though, is when you are heavy on fuel, it does tend to want to push a little bit more. He may have this set up in a position where middle of that fuel run, he's got it set up perfectly, and he's still struggling right now to get that grip on the front.
Yes, he is. We're going to jump back up to the battle for P2. Vincent Trepanier pulling out on this to the tune of about 5 seconds as of right now. But a very, very fierce battle raging. Rob Campbell leading this flock of BMWs right now. Kevin Norris, Claude Belval, and Alexandre Baton all running very, very close to one another.
Yeah, these guys are all under a tenth. They're trying to make their way up the mountain here. Again, this part of the mountain, you can go full throttle in these cars. Draft actually makes a difference through here up until you get to your braking zone for Skyline, as we watch them go through the dipper a little bit wide, but you don't want to get too close to that left side wall. It can end your day very quickly.
Yes, it can very, very quickly, as that was a little bit of an aggressive line there out of Kevin Norris, and it looked like it worked quite well, taking a later apex into Forest Elbow, trying to carry that momentum for the 774. Thought about poking out to the outside of Rob Campbell as they make their way down the Conrad Straight. He's going to keep on waiting, and there's the move, trying to poke his nose to what will become the inside. He's going to get a little bit of an overlap. That BMW is going to hold it heavy onto the brakes. Almost a tip in the back there from Belval, but Kevin Norris up ahead, and it looks like Rob Campbell may have another BMW trying to swamp him here.
Yeah, the BMWs have got a nice chunk of power when they come off of Forest Elbow. Really helps them down Conrad Straight. Now the slipstream, the slipperiness of that Ferrari, great car to have going down the hill. But when you've got a BMW behind you that got a great launch out of Forest Elbow, it's just hard to defend. You saw he tried. He held that right side, hoping that he could make it through into the chase with a little bit to gain, but the BMW just had a little bit too much power for him, a little bit too much slipstream for him to do anything about it.
Yeah, indeed, as there you see that BMW of Claude Belval, not exactly able to get the same launch there out of the corner as Kevin Norris did on Forest Elbow, but he's going to continue to hassle that Ferrari of Rob Campbell. Oh, that's Nicholson trying to make a move, going up through the hill. Hoi, oi, oi. He's lucky he didn't get completely taken out on that one.
Oh, I think he might be starting to find the grip on the front end of that Porsche there. Nathan Nicholson running that Porsche 911 GT3R. Once you get that weight down, you can start getting the grip on those front tires again. Let's see how this car develops through the rest of this race.
Indeed. I just heard a big ka-thunk out of somebody up ahead. I'm not sure who that was, but somebody definitely coming into contact with the wall.
Waiting for the red lights to come up on my timing screen. Didn't affect whoever it was too much. I'm looking at my gaps here. Everybody looks like they're in just about the same place. Still have.
It was Norris. It was Kevin Norris that caught the front end of the car, the front right. I'm looking to see if there's any damage. It doesn't really appear to be, but Kevin Norris definitely playing a little bit fast and loose with those walls up and down the hill.
There might be a little bit of a bend on that front splitter, but it doesn't seem to be affecting him too much. I think he's got bow tie power happening for him here.
Taking a little bit of that American horsepower bow tie maybe to be able to do that. But he is starting to gap Rob Campbell as they cross over the line. The gap right there is about 0.9 of a second. So he is putting some good time on him.
Yeah, look, oh, Kyle Robertson just making a little groundskeeper work going on for him today.
Not entirely sure what happened to him there. We're going to jump back to check out the replay, though. Ooh, did he just get on the power a little bit too early coming out of the chase, or did he have a little bit of help from Mignon behind?
Hard to say. Let's take a look at the replay here as they come down into the chase. Sets up wide, wants to just clip that apex, go into the brakes at about 100 marker. Come in. Oh, he got a little bit too much of that inside curving. That will take you around depending on your setup.
Indeed it did. And so while Robertson gathers himself back up, let's go back and check out the other replay that we've been waiting for a break in the action to bring you, which is Devin Horvath's incident on that opening lap. Remember, this is the incident that caused the Porsche to ostensibly DNF here today. So this is Horvath there in that white Porsche.
Trying to make his way up the mountain here, just getting dangerously close to the walls, which you have to do. That's part of this part of the course. You have to get there. If you're not, you're losing time. Now he's trying to stay just in. Oh, gets a little wiggly. Oh, trying to go through the park right there. Yeah, that, ooh, that just, that breaks my heart to see that happen.
We're going to try to watch this here from the onboard perspective of those behind him. This is Caven Norris that we ride on board with. That is going to be Horvath, the second car in front of you. Oi! Caven thanking his lucky stars there.
Caven very happy that Horvath was heads up or eyes back, as it were, making sure that.
Oh. We've got action. That's Rob Campbell having to do a lot of defense on Claude Belval. Belval and that BMW looked like he got that good launch off of the chase that you mentioned earlier, Michael, and putting some pressure to the back of that Ferrari.
Yeah, that Ferrari is the lone Ferrari in the top 5, surrounded by a swath of BMWs, 2 in front of him and 2 behind him. Oh, that's not a place you want to be.
No, it is not, but it looks like he was able to hold off the attack from Belval there for a moment, at least for the time being. Let's keep our eyes focused here. Let's see how these two cars handle coming up and over the hill. Now, I'm curious, Michael, we talk a lot, we talked a decent amount about the slipperiness of both that Bimmer and the Ferrari, but how are those two respective cars in terms of handling coming up and down the mountain?
Well, you've got a completely different car. You've got one that's a front engine and the other that's a mid-engine. Now, the BMW, they have moved that engine as far back as they can possibly get it to try to keep that weight near the middle, but it's still balanced very heavily towards the front. That's, as we have, oh no, that's not what you want to do, Eddie!
Oh, that is not good. That is exactly the danger scenario that we talk about here at Bathurst that you do not want to see. That was Rob Campbell losing it just before Skyline and many drivers getting collected. We jump back. Oh, he clipped that inside wall, then went right there. Nowhere to go. Tried to hold the brakes. Rob, buddy, I hope you weren't in VR for that.
Oh, I can tell you from experience that is not a good place to be in VR. I've done it a few times and had to take the headset off because, wow, it'll keep your head spinning while you're still trying to take the goggles off.
Indeed. Whoa, you can see that launch. That was Nicholson that got caught up in it there as well. I believe a couple other drivers. Oh, man, oh, man, oh, man. So that's going to very seriously. Breton was the other one. Breton was that other BMW that got caught up in it, I believe. So that's going to change the complexion of this battle up towards the top here, I think.
Yeah, our top 5, we've still got 4 BMWs in it, but now instead of that Ferrari, we've got a 911 GT3R working its way right now in 4th position with Evan Tavitas.
Exactly, Ethan Tavitas there in 4th. He's fair chunk back, about 5 seconds back of Belval right now. We'll have to see what he can do. That is Tavitas on your screen.
Trying to get up into the mountain section here. You get as far out to that wall as you can get. Don't scrape it because it will kind of bite you if you're not careful. But right now, we got time left in this race. We're around 26, 27 minutes to go. You got it. This is time to just get into the groove. Get into the groove. Let the race come to you. We can fight it out at the end. And I think right now we've got a good chance of these guys just trying to hold position and make up time when and where they can without trying to force it too much.
Well, that was a little bit of what we saw last night out of the Pro Series there. Whoa, Tavitas taking a little bit of groundscaping duty there as well, running over the line, and that was not exactly great. Now, he does have Nico Zanadakis coming up behind him to the tune of about a second and a half, so he's got to be a little bit careful to make sure he doesn't get within that draft range of the BMW behind him.
One thing I'm noticing about the ways Tavitas has this car set up, he's able to make these curb strikes a lot harder, a lot easier rolling over them. So I think he's got a mindset on his setup. I may make it a little bit slower in the overall lap time, but I'm going to allow myself to hit these curbs.
Well, that, I guess, would come down a lot to some of the setup tweaks that he is able to put into that car. This is, of course, an open series. We jump back here. This is David Morse and Bowie Suin. This is one of the closest battles we have out on track right now. These are two of the Ferraris. Morse, they're in 8th in that orange and white machine, and then Suin chasing in behind. Suin, rather, chasing in behind in that purple, black, and blue.
Watching them come down to Hell Corner here, trying to make their way down Mountain Straight. This is a good spot to make up some time. You want to use a little bit of that green on the outside, and then try to set the car up so that you're in the sticky part. There really is a noticeably sticky part of the track as you're heading down Mountain Straight, just where all the cars have dropped the rubber off their tires. And making a good run up into Griffin's Bend.
Definitely closing down some time. There is Suin, so doing a good job there. Unfortunately, as they go up through the cutting, as we've talked about, there's not really an opportunity to overtake, but nobody told Bowie Suin, poking his nose down to the inside of the cutting. Able to hold it off there was David Morse, but whew, that was almost a little bit of fun.
Yeah, I'd like to see that again. The cutting is a dangerous place to make a pass, but it's a really good place to make your presence known. As he goes a little bit wide, get the nose down in there, scare him off of that inside wall, and then try to push on up the hill. Like I was saying before, you've got a little bit of a draft as you come up that hill all the way around.
Oh, that's Tavitas. That is Tavitas, and that was, I believe, that was Morse that got caught up in it. I'm not sure if there's any damage to Suin. There's a lot of damage to Bowie Suin right now. That is Nathan Nicholson that is getting by there. This is a whole kerfluffle.
Oh, taking a look again. That's a really tough place when you come down in there. How much of that curbing can you take? Do you hit that little bit of grass? That grass is going to just rip your car around in circles.
And that was, I don't think Ethan realized that there was more traffic coming up behind him, and that's what caught out Morse. There you can see the damage on some of those cars. Let's take an onboard angle here. Now, this is a little bit of what you were talking about earlier, Michael. Oh, the car just snap oversteer. Not at all what I thought happened there. Wow.
Yeah, a little surprising. Not exactly what I thought had happened either. That's unfortunate. I have no words for what happened there.
Yeah, indeed. A very surprising incident. We check back in, though. Whoa. We need to stop checking in on drivers because I think we've got a really strong commentator's curse. That was Vincent Trepanier on your screen, who is currently leading this race to the tune of about 8 seconds. Had a big bobble coming up through the cutting.
Yeah, again, the cutting is trying to take some victims today. Getting a little bit too close to the wall in there. Oh, almost on the edge of locking up as he tries to make his way back up the mountain.
But Trepanier has been able to lead since the drop of the green flag, as I said, but an 8-second advantage right now over Caven Norris as they work their way around Trepanier, just trying to race this as smooth and consistently as he can to make this all work out.
Yeah, Caven Norris is trying to keep this going. If you look back to Belval behind him, that's not that much of a gap at this track. It's such a long lap and such a huge opportunity to draft and catch up to the guy in front of you. This is still a close race for second place.
It's certainly not over yet. This is Caven Norris there on your screen. Caven trying to hold off Belval behind him. And how much of a setup change can you make to really make your car that faster around a track like this, Michael? I mean, is it a situation where if you're driving the same car like here, BMW to BMW, that you could be able to gain that 2 seconds in?
2 seconds per lap, not so much. Over the course of a race, pretty easily. It just depends on how you as a driver like to drive. Are you the kind of guy who wants to hit those curbs, who wants to bounce off of them, or do you want to stay clear of them and just nick them and make up your time in other places? Trim out that wing, go for the speed down the straightaway. When I drive here in the sim, I actually like a little more downforce. because I know that my qualifying isn't always the greatest. I'm going to be back in 4th place, 3rd place. I've got somebody in front of me to make a big giant hole, so I can use that hole, but I have downforce to follow them up the hill. And I've even passed people going up and down the mountain on this track in the simulator.
Well, you've got more than I do, my friend, because I know I'm lucky if I can just get to the end of the race on this track in the sim. But as we were watching Caven Norris there, I thought it was a bit interesting. He was making just a little bit of a change on the steering wheel there. Could that possibly be brake bias? Is there other adjustments he would be making at this point in the race?
I'm going to guess he's looking at his brake bias right now, because remember, he had that little incident earlier and got some damage on that front splitter. Now, fuel's starting to work its way down, so he's got less fuel in the car. The rear end is getting lighter because that's where the fuel cell is on this car. So the balance that he had in the qualifying stage, where the car is in pristine condition, is off right now, and he's trying to find some way to get the balance back by playing with how those wheels start to slow down when he goes for the brake pedal.
Well, all right, we are officially past the halfway point here, so all cars that are running as of this point will pick up those points. Just to reiterate what we said before, by the way, at this point, Caven Norris cannot become champion. It is Vincent Trepanier who will be the Season 21 Season 4 champion. So they are working their way around here. There is Trepanier on your screen. Just consider this an extended victory lap, as it were.
Yeah, it's a good 40-minute victory lap at a very fun track, although it is treacherous. It's one of those tracks that just wants to beat you every single lap. If I'm Caven Norris right now, do I want to sit back and say, take the second? Oh, we're missing the front part of a car here.
And that is Marc-Andre Desjardins, who had a big coming into the wall moment coming out of Skyline. Now, that is Bowie Suin ahead of him, who suffered some pretty big damage as well earlier. Let's watch this. He comes down the hill, applying the brakes right over that curb, just no control of the car, and whammo.
Yeah, that grass right there. If you don't line up just right when you're coming into that section, you're going to hit that grass, and it's going to do, well, as we can see, truly terrible things to your car.
Yeah, and I think he was basically just attempting to use the momentum to bring himself down as far as he could, not able to make it in of his own accord. I think that engine might be toast.
Yeah, disappointing, but it happens. That's kind of the way the cookie crumbles when you're racing on such a treacherous course.
It is widely regarded as one of the toughest in the world, so not exactly surprising, but that currently, he is the highest driver right now to, looks like, be taken out. So we've only got about 11 or 12 cars left running here today. 15 officially still in the sim. Kwakman, Alexander Breton, and Marc-Andre Desjardins are waiting in pit lane with repairs. Tavitas has gotten back on track, as has David Morse. Jason Burmeister also had an incident, I believe, back on lap 8 or 9 and came in and out. But the man who hasn't had an incident continues to be our leader, Vincent Trepanier.
Yeah, Trepanier doing a beautiful job. He's opened it up to over 9 seconds at this point. He's kind of on a kind of stick it in your eye victory lap at this point.
Yeah, really and truly is just really driving a spectacular race here, doing a good job to keep that thing pointed forward. And Michael, at this point in a race, I'm sure you've been in a position similar to Vincent's. How does that change your mentality? Do you get more hyper-focused on not making errors, and does that raise up the nerves, or can you calm yourself down?
You can't focus on not making errors. There's a kind of a meme, a thought that I give people. It's the 3 Ps. The first 2 are the most important. The last one is pester, which pester the guy in front of you or behind you. But first you need patience. Patience is massively important. And if it gets away from you, you lose the second P, which is precision. So putting patience and precision together, you have to maintain that regardless of being 9 seconds, 20 seconds, or a 1/10 of a second in front of the car behind you. You absolutely must maintain the 3 Ps.
Well, that indeed is what he is being able to practice right now in terms of that patience and precision, just to throw another P word in there. sport, kicks and grins. Yeah, very much doing a good job now. I anticipate drivers coming into the pits here about in the next 5 to 8 minutes or so by my calculations of when we expect them to be coming down pit lane. This is our closest battle right now. This is that Belval-Norris fight that we've been keeping an eye on. Belval's been keeping this gap at about 1.8.
Yeah, he's trying to hold the gap. We're going to see probably something happen in the pits here. It's going to come down to either opening it up or closing it down in the pits. Depends on if Kevin Norris is able to get a better time in the pits, or if Claude Belval is going to be able to get the better time. This is where it's going to really shine between these two guys.
And both of their lap times, I'm looking at their last lap, they both did a 2:03. Kevin Norris was a 2:03.548. Claude Belval a 2:03.553. So super, super close. You can see just how inseparable those two really are.
Yeah, they're driving the same car. They probably have a very similar mindset on how to set this car up, because I'm not seeing much of a difference in the gap. They are just going hammer and tongs as best they can, but they're not making up ground on each other. That's why I'm saying this is going to happen in the pits for these guys. This is going to be a strategy call when you pit and how much fuel you take on, what's going to happen when they decide to make that pit stop.
It'll be interesting to see for sure on how that will shake out for these two, but I'm beginning to agree with you as they continue to work their way around. Like we said, this is that closest battle coming down now over Skyline through the S's before they get to the Dipper here. Belval not really starting to gain in all that much. It's just continues to remain as it was.
Yeah, they're holding station here, and it maybe there was some communication. Hey, let's just run this until after the pit stop, and then we can start. Oh, we got Xenodakis around. Xenodakis is around.
Yeah, Xenodakis is around. Wow! And that's Nicholson around as well. Oh my goodness, just a little bit of a mistake. I think Nicholson didn't realize that he was coming onto the track there. Very lucky to get away with that. We're also hearing that Mignon may have had a problem over Skyline. We'll get to that in a second, but Michael, it's a bad incident here for Nikos.
That's a tough re-entry. Not paying close enough attention to what's going on around him. I think he got into the corner, gets a little bit frustrated that the car has gone sideways, and then tries to get back onto the track. As we watch him coming around here, looking, through the final part, comes around and tags the wall. That's got to bring frustration. Now trying to get back. Well, maybe he's going to try to finish the lap backwards is what I'd be thinking at this point.
It looks like he just tried to back it up to give himself some space. And then this is Nicholson coming up and over where that, you see he gets right there. Wow! Wow!
That's a double. He might have grazed the other car and also grazed the wall. That's unfortunate that he's coming back on. I'm sure Xenodakis tried to get out of the way, tried to get moving at the right point. We saw how he backed the car down the track and went off into that grassy area to not be in the way of other people. So he had the right mindset to do that. It was just unfortunate that the timing worked out that way.
Yeah, indeed, and this has frankly kicked off our pit cycle here at Mount Panorama. Kevin Norris has come on in. I'm also seeing Philippe Mignon has come down pit lane. Nathan Nicholson also coming down. I expect some repairs are needed to that Porsche.
Oh, for sure. It's time to get the bent parts unbent to get back out there on the track and make the most out of what that car can do as we watch Philippe Mignon going up the hill now.
Yeah, and this is currently the second place driver who has pitted, the top place driver being Kevin Norris as of the moment. Expecting about a 34-second cone-to-cone for that. Mignon just making his way around right now.
Yeah, Mignon, the only Lamborghini in the field. Right now, he's looking pretty good. Could be making his way towards top 5 as Trepanier makes his way into the pits.
All right, so that is your leader coming down pit lane right now. Claude Belval, it looks like, I'm not sure if he's going to be coming down as well. He is coming down, so that's going to be that battle with Caven Norris that we were keeping an eye on, the battle between the two of them. Richard Swindells would be the next in line if he chooses to come.
Richard coming down towards the pit entry under the Armor All Bridge, puts his nose in. Looks like he is going to make it into pit lane, as well as Vincent Trepanier works his way out of the pits.
Yes, he does. Now waiting to see with Belval where he will slot out as Caven Norris is going. That's Nathan Nicholson you see moving. It looks like Norris is going to be able to keep the advantage now, and I think he may have grown it.
Yep, he's opened that up. Looks like about 4 seconds now. They were at 2 seconds before this. Like I was saying, this is going to be a battle in the pits, and it has turned out to be exactly that. I like it when it goes with what I expect sometimes.
Always helps you make you feel a little bit better about it, but they now continue to go around. We follow on board with Kyle Robertson. Robertson coming down pit lane here. You can see that little bit of frustration, just kind of, okay, come on, bring this thing down. It's exactly the same reaction I have whenever I come down pit lane here. It's very, very tight.
And I think he's got some damage that he's going to need to get repaired too. That car was pretty unstable trying to make it through that pit lane. It's not an easy pit lane to begin with, but I got to tell you, that did not look like a healthy car.
No, and he has sustained some damage earlier on in this race, so I suspect that he will be there. Well, he didn't really stay stationary for too long. I don't think he had a whole lot of damage to the repair, or opted not to.
Looks like a very short stop. That was a little over 8 seconds, and he's back on Mountain Straight, trying to make his way down into the mountain section.
Yeah, he is. So nothing going wrong there, at least by the way he has it. And now he's got a little bit of somebody to focus on. Bowie Suin, a lot of damage still to that Ferrari, is only about 2.5 seconds up the road of that green Porsche of Kyle Robertson.
Having a rabbit to chase right now is going to be a good thing for him. He can't see the damage on the front of it, so it's a really nice boost to the ego when you see that you're catching up as you run lap to lap. So let's see how this lap comparison plays out over the next few laps.
We will indeed have to see how that plays out, but right now, just as they've climbed up over the hill, he's been able to take about a 1/10 out of it, has Kyle Robertson. And yeah, you can see some of the damage to the front end of that Porsche. Definitely showing the wear around here at Mount Panorama as they continue to drive around here. Robertson brings it down through Forest Elbow, powers onto the straight.
I'd be curious to take a look through here and see if anybody is going to get that bonus for 0x. I'm sure we've got everybody with at least 2, if not more.
Have to agree with you on that, and that bonus is for 3 incidents or less. So there's a chance, but I'm not necessarily saying it's all that strong of one. As they continue to come their way through here now. Robertson looked like he lost a little bit of time to Suin down the Conrad Straight, so this may not be as easy as we thought it was going to be, Michael.
It looked like he had a good plan ahead of him. He's got a good rabbit to chase, but I think we have 2 damaged cars here that are just trying to get to the end of the race as best they can.
Indeed, and with only 7 minutes to go, there's not going to be that much time for them to keep going at this point. Vincent Trepanier right now just coming through the chase, so that will be your leader. It should give us, I believe, 4 laps to go at the line.
And if I'm looking correctly, it looks like Robertson is making up some time. It's just such a big gap. It's a little over 3 seconds, but he was a good 4 seconds faster last time around.
Was indeed, so we'll have to see what it plays to as they continue to climb up the hill here, working their way around Kyle Robertson, just trying to keep all 4 wheels of that Porsche on the track. You can see the steering wheel, just those sort of micro adjustments that he's having to make coming up and down the hill. there they come. Let's stay on board as he goes down through Skyline. You really get a sense of just... He's clutching that thing.
Oh, he didn't get enough fuel. Now he's having to clutch it and try to save some fuel to make it to the end. He's got a gap behind him. It's a big gap behind him, so I think he can afford to do that. Looks like behind him we got about 47 seconds. So he may just be looking towards the end and trying to minimize the damage that's been done so far.
Well, looking at his pit stop, he was about 3 seconds faster than anybody else on track, so that would make sense that he underfueled the car. So that would definitely account for it, and he has lost a boatload of time with that clutch and coast too soon. The gap now at about 7.5 seconds. You can hear it.
Yeah, listen, you can tell he's doing everything he can to save some fuel. Coming up to the pit entry here, is he going to try to dive in to get some more fuel? Nope, he's going past the pit entry down to Murray's. Going to make another lap of this track.
It's a bold strategy. We're going to have to see if it plays off in terms of doing that and listening to that car. It's a good thing he caught it when he did, at least, or that could have been absolutely disastrous for Kyle Robertson had he kept going at full tilt.
Yeah, it's a tough call. I got to tell you, when you have to get into those modes where it's just fuel saving, in a car like this, you have a switch on your wheel, and hopefully it's mapped on his sim wheel where he can change the fuel map, and it really does work. I've done this 100 times, 1,000 times even in the RSR. I use it all the time, and I've even been caught out in the wrong mode at the start of a race before. So it's something that you got to be aware of. But I would probably start looking to make a different mode for the fuel usage here, for a different fuel map, and also depending on that short stop, how much he shorted the fuel, you're going to have to lift and coast quite a lot to make the most of it.
Well, and what I'm not entirely sure of is Burmeister is the car behind him. He's 45 seconds back right now. That's a pit stop and change. He should be able to come down pit lane and take some time, just get a quick splash and dash and make it back out. So we may see Robertson dive back down for just that quick splash and dash to cover himself off.
I think Robertson's idea, yeah, that's what should be happening. There's plenty of time behind him. He's got a little over 40 seconds. It's 14 and a half seconds to Suen in front of him. Oh, as Burmeister makes contact with the wall, that's going to add a little bit more time, make that decision to hop into the pits and get some more fuel a little bit easier.
I would have to think so. And Burmeister, one of those cars that was caught up in a couple of the big accidents coming up and down the mountain. Oh, harder into the wall.
Oh, looked like he was trying to play the piano going down the wall there. Oh, not a good way to make up some time.
No, not at all. And that is very much not what he wants to see, not what he wants to have happen. Better hope here that he doesn't have it coming down through the S's or the dipper. Looks like he's okay and been able to collect the car, but that's got to be very, very scary.
Yeah, the right side of the car doesn't look like it's too much worse for the wear. His rear wing is still straight and making good speed down the straightaway. He's up over 150 miles an hour at this point. Let's see if he can make up any ground. Kyle Robertson needs to start thinking about pits, because if Burmeister can keep out of the wall, there's a chance to make this up.
Yeah, there is indeed. By the way, I can report that our leader, Vincent Trepanier, has just crossed the line. Where he was, I believe it is 2 to go here for the Canadian and the what we assume to be champion of this final season in 2021 for the Precision Racing League's GT3 AM division. He has just driven a very, very good race out here. Jumping back, this is Nathan Nicholson. Now that is, I believe, Rob Campbell in front of him. Let's see what happened, though. Nicholson, who's just been very unfortunate. Oh, that rear end just went away on him.
That could be a little bit of tire happening there. He's just been too harsh on his rear tires. Looks like that might have been what happened, but it's hard to say without being in the car.
Yeah, indeed, and he's coming down pit lane. We'll have to see here if this may be him just parking it for the day, as that Porsche has suffered such damage. I'm surprised he's been able to make that around this far. Oh, no, that's a drive-through. That's
That was a
13
drive-through.
incidents.
Yep, that spin brought him over the 13 incident point. He had a drive-through right there.
Indeed he has. So that is the first victim of that drive-through that we have seen today. As I said, most of the drivers who I think would have come up close to it have been eliminated from this race. We really only have 15 drivers who are still in the session and only 12 of them who are actually running out on track. So 8 drivers effectively eliminated. This is Trepanier coming to the line to take the white flag. Barney has it in his hand, and as Trepanier works his way out there for the penultimate time, crosses over the line. There you can see that white flag waving. It is a true victory lap now for Vincent Trepanier.
Yeah, Trepanier's drive today absolutely reminds me of Alain Prost when he said, when I look fast, I'm not smooth and I'm going slowly. And when I look slow, I'm smooth and going fast. This has been an absolute masterclass, 14 seconds out in front.
Indeed, a perfect run here by Trepanier. Just absolutely flawless to get it going. And I've got to agree with you. This is Robertson on your screen right now. We are checking him out. We kind of running some math behind the scenes here. He may actually have to give up this lap to be able to make it to the end.
Oh, this will be interesting. Now, once he hits the peak of the mountain, once he's up there at McPhillamy Park, he can kind of clutch it and go from there. But, you know, the gap behind him, it's 50 seconds right now. I don't know if you can coast all the way down the mountain and not lose that 50 seconds.
Exactly. That's going to be the real test here, but we continue to follow our leader, who is been just absolutely scything away at that gap to Robertson. And by the way, that is just to put Robertson a lap down. There you can actually see that green Porsche directly ahead. But this is Vincent Trepanier, 2021 Season 4 champion, coming down through the chase for one final time. Gets on the binders and brings that BMW around the quick succession of corners. Robertson staying off to the left there. Looks like he's going to let him go. I think that's a smart move by Kyle. Trepanier brings the car through Murray's for the last time. And there, Vincent Trepanier not only will win today, but he will win on the season. Vincent Trepanier, your winner and champion.
A little flash of the lights there in celebration. Nice move through the finish. So we got Kevin Norris coming up to the finish line.
We do indeed, and they finished today as they did in the championship 1 and 2. Claude Belval will come across the line to round out your podium. Great drives by by everyone out there today, really and truly. There you can see them all just kind of taking a little bit of a victory lap. All 3 BMWs rounding out your podium. There behind them, Philippe Mignon is coming across the line right now for them. He is going to finish in P4. There he is. I think he will be happy to be done. Behind him, it is Swindells and Zanadakis coming in. That is going to lead us to a quick break here at Mount Panorama, but don't go anywhere because we will have unofficial race results and interviews with your podium when we get back. Welcome back to Mount Panorama Circuit. We have just witnessed Vincent Trepignet take the win and the championship here with a commanding drive around this fearsome track. Kevin Norris was behind him in second, as well as being second in the championship, with Claude Belval in third and Philippe Mignon in fourth. Richard Swindells came home in fifth, followed by Nico Zanadakis and Bowie Suin in seventh. Kyle Robertson was a lap down in eighth, as was Jason Burmeister, and David Morse rounds out your top 10.
Coming in 11th, we have Ethan Tavitus, followed by Nathan Nicholson. Marc-Andre Desjardins brings in P13, followed by Alexander Breton. Quat Nen brings in P15, followed by Rob Campbell, Paul Espina, Michael Pabliano, Devin Horvath, and I'm going to screw this one up again, aren't I? Jean-Claude Langlois? Did I get it right this time? I think I got it right this time.
There you go. You nailed it, Michael. But we have here in the booth our winner and champion, Vincent Trepignet. Vincent, how does it feel?
Very great. It's it's exciting. It was a very exciting season. So very happy.
Well, we're very happy for you. You know, you had a bunch of races like this where you kind of ran away from it. Do you like being able to stomp the field that well and just run away? Is that, or would you prefer some of the closer battles that we saw you have over the course of the season?
I'm sorry. Can you translate, Kevin, please?
I can go. Ce qu'il voulait dire, en fait, est-ce qu'il y a eu quelques courses où est-ce que tu prenais les devants largement? Est-ce que tu préférais quand tu t'évadais ou quand il y avait des close battles, quand il y avait des batailles proches?
Honestly, my favorite race, it was the last one on Barcelona, Catalonia, with the battle with Kevin Norris. It was the most exciting race for me. Because sometimes I think on the Hungaroring and the Nürburgring I was more than 15 seconds ahead the second driver. So the most exciting is to be in the battle. Yeah.
Absolutely love that, and I will tell you that's what we love as well. But what's in store for next season? Are we going to see you back in the GT3s, or are you going to jump around a little bit?
Yeah. I will try the Pro Series and GT3. I will try it. So it's going to be a big, a big challenge for me. Yeah.
Well, we look forward to you taking it on, Vincent. Anybody you'd like to thank for this year and for this race?
First of all, my girlfriend, to keep the kids in the bed. I wanted to thank all my teammates, Marc-André, GC, Michel Plourde, and PRL organization. They make an awesome job, and you two guys, JSRC, your broadcast just fun to watch.
Well, when you make the racing this good, Vincent, we can't help but enjoy it. Thank you so much. That was Vincent Trepignet, your champion of the season. And now, Michael, I believe you have caught up with second place here today and second place in that championship, Kevin Norris.
Kevin, congratulations on a second place finish here. I got to say, that was an exciting race to watch. For me, that whole battle for P2 was kind of the highlight of the race. Where did it start to come to you? Where did you feel like you had a solid hold on that P2?
I'd say around maybe around the 10th lap. When I passed, I don't remember, was who was it?
It might have been Bilbao, right?
No, it was Campbell. I think Campbell was in
Campbell,
second,
yes.
So when I went in front of him, I think I had like some little minor damage on the front right side, but well, I just went away and yeah.
So you've brought a new idea in fashion to racing. You've gone for a little more of a formal look. How much has the collared shirt and bow tie contributed to your P2 today?
It was just for fun, I'd say. It's the last race of the season. Let's just
You're prepared for the champagne to be flowing, right?
Yeah, that's right. I'll open a beer with Trépanier after the interview.
Good plan. I may have to do the same myself. So when you were looking at the finish of the race, you had Claude behind you. You're opening up that gap just a little bit at a time. Were you planning to open it up, or was it just I'm hoping he gets slower? How did that come about?
Yeah, he was closing the gap just before the pit. So I entered one lap before for the pit entry. So when I went out, I just get back with not the pace, I'd say, because Trépanier had a really better pace than me. But I went out with like 4 seconds. I gained 2 seconds with the pit. So yeah.
Yeah, we noticed you went in the pit with 2 seconds, came out with 4, and I think DJ and I were talking about how that race was going to be made and who got the better pit stop. Fortunately, my friend, it was you. So great job on that. Who would you like to thank for today's P2?
Great shout out to Advanced SimRacing. Alexandre Breton did the great job with me, pushed me many times. You guys for the awesome stream, like every time, and the PRL for sure. So yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Kevin, for being here. Let's toss it back to DJ.
Well, thank you, Kevin, and thank you to all of the drivers here who competed in this GT3AM championship. It's about going to wrap us up here on the Global Sim Racing channel for tonight's coverage. But before we go, we would like to thank our sponsors, ASR. They design and build the most sturdy and durable aluminum profile racing simulation cockpits available on the market today. Visit them at advancedsimracing.com. RaceLab. It helps you to improve your driving skills. Start using it now for free at racelab.app. ButtKicker. Feel what you've been missing at thebuttkicker.com. SIMMSA. Find out how you can bridge the gap between virtual and real motorsports at SIMMSA.net. And NinjaTrader. Visit ninjatrader.com and get started with a risk-free trading simulator and start tracking your performance. Thanks as well to all of the companies that provide the software and hardware for our broadcast listed here on your screen. An additional thanks go to June Lalonde, who provides our wonderful music. Check out her Bandcamp for more of her awesome work. Thank you so much to the team today, Michael, Joe, and Dougie. You can find out more about GSRC at globalsimracingchannel.com or through our social media listed on the screen. Also, go ahead and check out our merch store at simracingmerch.com/GSRC. We keep a link in the description below. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel as well so you do not miss a moment here on the Global Sim Racing channel. Well, the next race for this series will be December 21st at 8:03 p.m. Eastern Time. We're not entirely sure what track it will be next, but we will let you know as soon as we find out. We also have upcoming races for other series listed on your screen, so check them out and mark them down on your calendar. But until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.